Akai Haato is probably one of Hololive's most unhinged idols, which is saying a lot. One of her most well-known creations being the coexistence saga, the main premise of which is Haato being two individuals, Haato and Hachima, and their conflict over who should be in control. Haato being safer and more conforming to normality, and Hachima being batshit terrifying. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing all of this up is because a lot of this is relevant to how Haato is played in Holocure. Haato's special attack, Change of Heart, creates a blast that knocks enemies away from her and deals damage. It initially seems like a pretty mundane special, but it has a cooldown of only 10 seconds, the shortest special cooldown in the entire game, which is useful as you can spam it for a strong source of early game damage. The reason for this cooldown being so short, however, is because Haato has two modes that she can fight as, switching between one or the other depending on which one is needed. Change of Heart is how you switch. You start off in Haato form, and when you activate Change of Heart, you'll switch to Hachima form, activating Change of Heart again and you'll switch back to Haato form. Her weapon further reflects the duality between Haato and Hachima. In Haato form, her weapon, Red Heart, creates red hearts that spiral around her, knocking back enemies and functioning sort of like a shield. In Hachima form, those hearts become black and shoot out in a ranged attack, dealing increased damage to enemies. Haato's red hearts serve as a defensive shield that keep her safe, while Hachima's black hearts are a pure damage tool. At max level, the hearts spiral outward after a little while, as well as gaining a debuff ability. Haato's will lower the enemy's defensive ability, while Hachima's will lower the enemy's offensive ability. I personally think these debuffs should be switched, but whatever. Her next skill, Purity and Insanity, only further cements Haato's role as a defensive character and Hachima's role as an offensive character. In Haato form, she'll heal herself every 2 seconds, while in Hachima form, her main weapon will gain the ability to create a burst that poisons enemies. You can easily tell when an enemy is poisoned because a spider icon will flash above them and they will turn this anathemic color. They take a reduced damage over time when poisoned. World's Strongest Idol makes it so that in Haato form she takes less damage while in Hachima form she deals more damage. It also increases the damage of all spider related weapons. This means Spider Cooking as well as its collabs, Elite Cooking, Broken Dreams, Eldritch Horror, and Jinkisu-kan all get a buff to their damage. So Haato's clearly got a duality theme going on, what with her weapon and skill cementing each of her two forms as a defensive or offensive based character. Her final skill, Coexistence, is the linchpin that ties her together and serves as her true special attack. It allows her to gain 1 stack of coexistence every second, and once a certain number of stacks has been reached, 50 at max level, her special attack won't switch her from one form to another, but activate both forms at the same time for 14 seconds at max level. In this form, she'll have the damage buff, poison, and ranged attack of Hachima, while also having the defense buff, healing, and heart shield of Haato, making her borderline unstoppable for a short while. You won't lose stacks of coexistence when you use her special without having the max number of stacks, meaning you can spam her special as much as you want without worrying about losing access to its buff. Unfortunately, the trade-off is that coexistence isn't affected by special cooldown reducing items, so Idol Costume is kind of worthless for getting coexistence faster. It's still effective if you want to spam her special though. Because of her duality, Haato has a lot of versatility in how you can build her, and I can't really think of a good loadout to give her. Personally, I typically spam her special as a way to clear out hordes in the early game, and then stay in Hachima form once I get into the mid game, switching into Haato form whenever I start getting overwhelmed and need to keep myself alive. As such, I generally stick with my usual combo of Nurse's Horns or Band-Aid with Breastplate or Body Pillow. I would also strongly recommend grabbing the Projectile Up stamp if you could find it, since Red Heart is a multi-shot weapon. If you can max it out, you can get 5 hearts per attack, and that damage boost is stupid OP on her. You should also get Spider Cooking as well, since she has an attack buff on it and its collabs. So, that's Haato. Thanks for watching. Please let me know which character you'd like to see next in the comment section. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos, and happy holocuring.